All right, everybody, welcome. Welcome to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. Steve Ray with you, as always, on Thursday nights here in Ooltewah, Tennessee. We got a huge show lined up for you. But before we tell you who's on, let me go over these great sponsors. The show's brought to you by Michelin Tires and the Michelin Defender LTX. That's right, that's the one that goes on your big trucks. If you count on your truck to get you places safely without tire issues, the Michelin Defender LTX is the tire for you. All your family's vehicles need Michelin tires. We're also brought to you by Butcher Barbecue products, available nationwide, online, and at a retailer near you, just like me. Butcher Barbecue products will put you in the winner's circle at your competition and in your backyard. Trust David BOUSKA, your butcher. We're also brought to you by Green Mountain Grills, available now at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply Store in Ooltewah. Green Mountain Grills, the Davy Crockett, the Daniel Boone, the Jim Bowie, the big one. We got those in today. We've got the Davy Crockett's, we got the Daniel Boones and the Jim Bowies. That Jim Bowie is a huge, huge grill, everyone, for under $1,000. A quality pellet grill under $1,000. The Green Mountain Grill, available at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Store here in Ooltewah. Don't forget our broadcast partner tonight and every night for the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show is the Backyard Smokers Barbecue Facebook page. Go to the Facebook and go to their page on Facebook for answers and grilling information, smoking, and all things live fire and backyard. Share information and get information on Backyard Smokers Barbecue Facebook page, the broadcast partner of the Owl's Nest Barbecue. A great show lined up for you. First of all, our guest tonight is going to be David BOUSKA of Butcher Barbecue, my friend and business companion, and he's got one product announcement, and then there's another announcement that David's going to make. And in the second part of the hour, we're going to have Ed Reilly on from B&B Charcoal. So all you charcoal knuckleheads out there that like to talk charcoal, talk about burn time, Steve Dotson up in West Virginia, naming one. He's a big B&B guy. Ed Reilly, the B&B man, will be on with us live in the second half hour of the Owl's Nest Barbecue page. Now, for everybody, I'm going to play for you right now one of the most famous scenes in all of barbecue television history. This was filmed, I'm not going to say several years ago, I'm looking probably at 4 to 5 years ago on Barbecue Pitmaster All-Stars. This was a competition where David BOUSKA and his son Levi, Michael character from just down the road in Adairsville, Georgia, and the fellow from Texas, I'll think of it in a minute, were on that show, and they were competing, and they were cooking a cowboy ribeye steak. And this was something that happened that literally set the barbecue world on fire with questions. When is it going to be available? And people have been asking this now for several years. So here we go. Pay attention. And here it is, one of the most famous clips off of barbecue television ever.
Steaks have been on for 2 hours. See, nice, medium rare, nice smoke ring. Yep. Now let's just taste it. We're being judged third, and this cowboy steak has to be great.
This tastes mostly beef. I don't really even taste that much like rub on it.
Do we need to put the mud on it?
So I put it on it.
Okay. Flavor profile of the barbecue mud isn't dirt. A lot of people want to know what's in it. Only 2 of us really know, Levi and myself.
I think it's some type of beef base or something like that with spices in it, but I think it's got a beef base to it.
Don't let it fool you. It's a lot of flavor.
David, what are you rubbing all over that steak?
Barbecue mud.
The character says he might need a little dab of mud. Don't like a character did.
Let's watch it one more time.
Steaks have been on for 2 hours. See, nice, medium rare, nice smoke ring.
Yep.
Now let's just taste it. We're being judged third, and this cowboy steak has to be great.
This tastes mostly beef. I don't really even taste that much like rub on it.
Do we need to put the mud on it?
So I put it on it.
Okay. Flavor profile of the barbecue mud isn't dirt. A lot of people want to know what's in it. Only two of us really know, Levi and myself.
I think it's some type of beef base or something like that with spices in it, but I think it's got a beef base to it.
Don't let it fool you. It's a lot of flavor.
David, what are you rubbing all over that steak?
Barbecue mud.
The character says he might need a little dab of mud. Don't like a character did.
I introduced you now, coming to you live from Wellston, Oklahoma, David BOUSKA of Butcher Barbecue. David, how are you?
What do you say, Steve? And what do you say there, listeners?
I hope you could hear that okay. I know you're on the telephone tonight because you're getting ready to go to a competition. But inform everybody. I heard this backstory the other day about every time that episode airs, what happens when the topic of barbecue mud hits the airwaves.
Well, I get a ton of text messages or emails, private messages, people posting on the different social medias asking questions. Hey, what is barbecue mud? What's it made of? Where can I go find it? Everything you can imagine, and we kept it close to our chest. We have not done nothing with it. I've wanted to. I have played with it in tons of different ways, but every way I tried to do it, I didn't like the application of it. As far as making it retail friendly. So that's what happens.
All right. Now, I guess that was what, 5 years ago? Is that about right?
Yeah, that's right. That sounds right.
Fast forward to 2020, the year from hell. Tell us how it is going to be introduced now, because in just a few short days, the barbecue mud will be available to the public, and it will be available to retailers like me to sell to the public. And I couldn't be more excited about a product, David. We're really looking forward to the barbecue mud.
Well, I appreciate that very much, and we appreciate the support. And let me tell everyone, run to your local store that you right now, like right there in Steve's store, the Owl's Nest, because they will have it at the same time it goes live on our site. So you don't have to just go to my site. If you want it that night to cook with, run right over to Steve's place and pick it up. He'll have it at the same time. Now that all being said,
you go ahead.
I forget your question, so go ahead.
Let's start with the original. That it looked like you were mixing it up in a coffee cup, and you were putting it on that steak with your forefinger, and you were just putting it on the outside of it. What is barbecue mud from the beginning, and now how will we find and mix and attach barbecue mud to our steaks and our briskets?
All right, let's start first off with what you see on TV, okay? What that was a paste form of what we've got right now. It was a beef paste product with lots of our spices and lots of other things added in that we put on our prime ribs. So there was a lot of little things in it that zip and pow with beef. Mm-hmm. And yes, it was a little thinner there, but generally it can get pretty thick. So that was part of the problem of what I've had over the last couple of years. But what you've seen right there was our original thing that we put on the outside of our prime ribs here at the house. And the backstory to that, or the segment there on the show, is we had tasted one. I forget how many steaks they gave us. Seems like it was 3. And one of them we got was what we call a wedge cut. It was about 1.5 inches on one side and a 1/2 inch thick on the other side. Mm-hmm. And we knew we were not turning that one in. So we had already decided that we would use that as a taster, which was just fine with us. We had just went 7 hours without eating, filming that show. So Levi and I did not mind at all taking a bite of a ribeye.
Well, but it looked good.
We cut into it, and it was kind of what we would call flat. It was lacking of what it needed, especially for a competition. So Levi's like, well, let's just put the mud on it. At that point, we didn't call it barbecue mud. We were like, let's just put that on it. And I was like, yeah, we need to. So we grabbed it and we're putting it on, and I couldn't hear your segment there when you was replaying it, but I think it was either Tuffy or Myron had blurted out. I had heard in the background our producer, each team had a producer and a film and a camera guy, and I heard him gathering up everybody real quick, and we didn't know what was going on. We was on a timer, so we just kept working, and then they all got sat down, and I don't remember which one. Like I said, one of them hollered out across the opening, which was about 20 feet, and says, "Hey, what's that you putting on that steak?" And out of the corner of my ear, I heard Levi say, "That kind of looks like mud." And so I just blurted out real quick, "That's barbecue mud." That's where the name came from, actually. It was a spur-of-the-moment combination of Levi and myself calling it, seeing it, and just doing it. So that's what that is. Yeah.
So you go from a paste, and everybody, I guess, after that showed or show aired, what was the first 5 years ago? What was the first reactions that came to you? Because at that time, Butcher Barbecue was already a huge player in the barbecue rub sauce market.
Well, we looked at it, and we knew how we used it and how we applied it, and every time I would try to use it a second time out of the same canister and mix my rubs into it, it would get so hard and thick that it really wasn't user-friendly. If you didn't actually heat it up and thin it down, it just wouldn't apply evenly. Just like it looks, you get blotches on that side of your meat. It'd be to make a spot real salty or one real spicy, and then nothing on the next one. It would not coat meat really easily. Okay, over the years, Levi has been using it on his prime ribs that he sells even at the restaurant. Okay, we make it in huge batches. We smear it all over, and that's what he smokes them with. During that, we've been playing with it in multiple forms, cooking with it, and the one way we knew we could make it work is make it liquid. So what you will get now will be a liquid form. It'll come in a plastic bottle.
Okay.
And it will need to be refrigerated after it's opened. Okay.
Okay.
The base flavor that we had on that steak was our private seasoning. Okay. That is the base flavor for the spices inside this product. But don't get me wrong, you will taste so much more. It is huge. The flavor is so intense, and it's very thick. And I mean very thick liquid. When you go to marinate with it, it will stick to the outside of your steak like crazy. I mean, it doesn't take a lot. You can marinate I would hazard to guess how much you're going to be able to marinate with one bottle. I'd love to say one steak per bottle, then you'd buy a bunch of bottles. But I'm a realist. It's a very thick product, and it will literally make it black looking, just like what you see on the TV show. It is still what we used. We just made it in liquid form.
So, David, when we use it, is it supposed to be a marinade, or do we use it while the steak, or can we use it instead of marinated? Can we use it as like a some sort of an enhancement to the steak while it's on the grill, or put it on right before it goes on the grill?
Yes, and yes,
okay.
yes.
I get you. I understand.
I have passed this out to a dozen different folks that cook in many different aspects, and I gave them zero instructions. I said, this is what it is. You go cook with it. Tell me ups and downs and sideways, your method, you grill, you pan fry. I mean, everything. We had folks that cooked portobello mushrooms. I had some folks that did sliders with it and just dunked their bread and pan skilleted it just to try it. we did have a steak cooker cook it and won his steak with category with it.
Oh, you're kidding.
We've used it as a brisket mop. I personally have used it also in my wrap for about a year now. It's a portion of my wrap there in my brisket. Steak, marinate your steak 30 minutes. Just a couple days ago, Levi did 2 tri-tips at the house, one with it and one without it. And he says the one with it was so much better, huge flavors. It's, God, I wish I could describe the depth of flavor it gives. It is, I would say call it a marinade. I'd call it a mop. Gosh, there's just so many different things you can do with it.
When you put it in, David, when you put it in your brisket and use it as part of your wrap, do you put it on the brisket, or do you circle the brisket with it and not put it on the brisket?
I don't put my wrap on the brisket anyway. I pour it on the end of the foil as I go to wrap up the brisket anyway. So that's just how I've always used it. Yeah, I still pour it in the end.
Oh, okay. So you pour it in the end after you've wrapped, like we do in ribs, say. Like where we pour apple juice in the end of the ribs and then wrap it up, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes. I kind of pull the 2 sides of the foil up, one end of the foil up, and I got the 4th open end, and I just always pull my wrap end right there. So yes, I just have never liked putting stuff on top of the brisket in liquid form in the wrap. So yeah, to answer your question, I put it on the side in to where it would be setting in the bottom of the foil, not over the meat.
So when I put on my I'm not a big fan of marinating steaks. I kind of like to pull them out of the refrigerator and set them out, let them warm up just a little bit, hit them with a little steak and brisket rub, and then I can see pouring some of this, like a little line of it on the top of the steak, and then maybe rubbing it in with my hands, putting it on the grill. And then when it's time to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side, after I flip it. Is that a method that somebody that you know has used?
That method would work real well. I had done that with pork chops, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and it worked very well with that. Almost exactly to the T, except for I put the pork chops in a Ziploc, poured it in, shook them up, pulled them out, put rub on them, took them straight out.
Okay.
I just did it all on the front side without letting them set 30, 40 minutes. But yeah, same basic principle as to what you're saying, and done it. I have.
Go ahead.
I have even put it right on my plate and used it as an au jus dip before.
Hey, would that work with like a French dip?
This is going to be really thick. I mean, so yes, it can. But be aware when you do this, it is it's thick. I'm trying to think of something that is the consistency of this. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not mustard. Okay. It's not that, it's not a paste.
Right.
Gosh, it's, okay. It's a little thinner than what I would call shelf temperature, outdoor open room temperature pancake syrup.
Oh, okay.
Picture a thickness of pancake syrup mixed with some water, and it's just a thinner than that, but thicker than that. Yeah.
All right, David, let me ask you this. If someone loves the flavor, doesn't like the thickness, is there a way did anybody that you gave this to, did anybody use anything to thin it out a little bit? If they were trying to...
I did not ask that question. That is a great question. I could see where you could thin it out. If you want a little bit more of a vinegary bite, you could thin it with some apple cider vinegar. You could thin it possibly with some Worcester, or water. If you want to do like pork, you could do even say an apple juice. But
Would something
try
like
it
a
first like it is.
would something like a beef broth work even?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Because we mix this in with my sourdough recipe for my beef right now, my brisket right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm engaging from this conversation is there's a product that's coming to us that it's good on brisket, steak, and you've already targeted pork with it as well. It can be thinned. It can be used straight out of the bottle. Now let me ask you this: can it be injected into a brisket or a steak if someone chooses, or is it too thick?
You will definitely not the thickness. It is black. I mean, you will see every single injection mark you make. I mean, when you get it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It is a black product. It is not caramel colored like Coca-Cola. It's black. It is what we used liquefied. And if you remember seeing that, it is black in color, and that is the fact of what this is. Yes.
Would that enhance the taste of a brisket, do you think, if it was injected? Would it be maybe a flavor profile that your friends haven't tasted yet, and something that would really wow somebody? Like, I've had a lot of brisket, but what is in this brisket?
I think personally, you can get that flavor by wrapping with it versus injecting.
Just from the outside.
You could inject. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is that strong, and when you're wrapping with it, it's going to be 3 hours, for lack of better words, boiling in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You will retain that flavor.
I was thinking more in the point than the flat for injecting it and then making burnt ends. I think the way you're describing it, it seems to me that it would add another layer of flavor to a burnt end that we know is already the most flavorful part of a brisket if it's done right. And I could see, heck, David, I could see putting burnt ends in a pan and putting the mud in there and just using that instead of beef broth, or maybe even thinning it out a little bit. I just think this product has got, the last time we spoke, I asked you if you thought that there was a flavor out there that hadn't been found yet that will set the world on fire, and you said absolutely. And when I found out that you were introducing the mud, that's exactly what I thought this was going to be. I said, this is the product, this is the flavor that nobody has yet, that nobody's copied. And do you think I'm on the right path with that?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Something else we did with this, that I was doing a demo in Kansas, and they had brought in some brisket, and we was putting rubs on it. They cooked it with our stuff, and it had kind of died down. It'd been about 3 hours, and they also sell fire discs, okay? Mm-hmm. And they had been doing some grease in it and been doing like donut balls in it.
Yeah.
And as a little sweet flavor. Okay. And I'm like, are y'all done with all this? I said, dump it grease out. I want to do something different. And I had some of this with me. And I said, chunk up a bunch of that brisket and just throw it in. I mean, as much as y'all want to get rid of. I said, because when I start doing this, it's going to come alive. And they said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to show you something new that I can't tell you about yet. But by George, I want you to sell the rubs and stuff we got. Because I said, the base has got private seasoning in it. So that's what we started with. And we put that in there, and we did it like a stir fry type deal. And that the mud almost caramelized on the outside of that shred beef.
Ooh.
And oh my goodness, that stuff was phenomenal. The folks that come back over and started eating on that just sat there and just ate. Just ate.
David, just think if you threw some onions in there. Just think if you had thrown some onions in there.
Yeah. One of the guys I sent this to owns a steakhouse over by Arkansas, and I had him playing with it in a restaurant form. I said, man, find it. He's the one who did some portobello mushrooms with it.
Mm-hmm.
He sauteed them there with his portobello mushrooms. And he is looking at doing exactly what we did with that fire disc for his trimmings off of some of the different stuff and adding it in and doing different things like that because of the way the flavor is just so large, and it's a flavor you will never have to had before. I'm just going to tell you that. It is sweet. It's Worcester. It's beef. It's got garlic. It is absolutely totally different than anything on the market. Whenever you get it, you'll go, well, is that Worcester? Is that what it is? But when you taste it, you'll know it's not. It's just absolutely totally different than anything else. And then you'll understand why those judges couldn't quite put their finger on it,
Mm-hmm.
but knew it was a beef-based product, man. They knew then is like, wow, what is this? Because it very easily will be the center of the plate without a doubt.
So barbecue mud is the missing link. I tell you, I can't think of another product that's been anticipated, as far as a rub or a sauce or a barbecue condiment that's been so talked about, so anticipated than the barbecue mud. I can't wait. I can't wait to get it in the store. And I love the idea of putting it in the fire disc. And if you don't know what a fire disc is, folks, fire disc is about a 3 foot around. It's just a big frying pan that you heat with one of those propane little propane cylinder goes on the bottom. It's a simple little cooking apparatus. It's you can use it for a million things: chicken wings, donuts. I've done fried Oreos in them. It's a very, very versatile cooking vessel. Cheap as hell. And you look it up, fire disc. You'll love it. All right, David, let's go next to the next big item on our interview agenda, because this is something that I just found out from you yesterday that's going to happen.
Yep.
And I think this is something that everyone listening, we got a lot of people listening, everyone listening is going to really get your ears ready and get your pencils ready, because this is a huge announcement. Go ahead.
Well, this has been in the comings for quite a little bit, not since first of the year, but in the last couple months. We have teamed up with Barbecue Champs Academy. It's called barbecuechamps.com. You can locate that on the internet. It is an online video class.
Mm-hmm.
There are some out there. We have done some with another group that is another group.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a full-blown 100% tell-all barbecue class. I lay it out on the line. My goal whenever I did this was I want this. I'm a studier, and I study people, and I think in the last little bit with the COVID world of everybody staying at home, it has proven my thought process that on-demand TV is the biggest thing there is. And now you could take a full-blown barbecue class. There's a gentleman on the screen with me asking questions, the questions that you would want to ask. Okay, you can go in and get this class, and you have it from that point forward. It's not like a one-time watch and you're done. You can go back and watch it and watch it and watch it. Each piece of meat is broken into a class, or you can buy all four for the one price.
Mm-hmm.
There is no travel expense, no fuel, no hotel, no airlines if you gotta do that. There's no food involved, and you get to watch it at your own leisure. If you want to watch half of it, 30 minutes of it, oh, I got to go to the baseball game tonight for the kids. Okay, stop. Come back that later on that night, watch it some more. But it is at your convenience. You get to watch it, just like all this Hulu TV and Vimeo and all that stuff. That's exactly what this is. And I go over selection, what I buy, where I buy, what it is. We trim. I go over step by step my injections, my rubs, my sauce pairings. I cook it on the FE. We cook it on the chicken gun on a little Weber. That's for another story. We do presentation. We do some backyard stuff. It is so versatile. If you just want to cook ribs, and that's your specialty, and let's say in a cul-de-sac of where you live, your 10 people on your block is going to have a little rib cook. Just go in and buy just the rib class, and you will get all the ins and outs of what it will take to make championship ribs on your block. That's the biggest thing, is that you get to do it at home. There's no added expense, and it makes a perfect gift even. They've got it set up in the last week or so to where you can go in and buy a gift card for your dad, especially with Father's Day coming.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, we got 4th of July coming up. It's there at all times. So you get to go in and watch it time and time again. That's the biggest thing that really come across with me. I'm able to do all this, and then on top of that, you will get access to a private Facebook page to ask me questions, and I'll be on there live. I'll go on there, post some updates. Hey guys, we're going to do this with our chicken this weekend. What do y'all think? Or get on there and say, hey, I made one small change with blah, blah, blah. I don't know yet. But if you got a question about, hey, I watched you do this on this, how did you go about finding this or whatever? Hey, you'll be able to post it on this Facebook page, and I'll be able to answer your questions from that point forward.
You know, those classes online like that, David, just the number of 2 barbecue schools that I've gone to when I was starting out and a few years ago. What amazed me about cooking barbecue, and especially somebody like me who is not a cook at all, were the pairings of the different rubs together. You know, when people come in the store, they go, "What's your best brisket rub?" Well, you know, that's not a yes or no or here it is question. That's this is a good one, but this one and this one are even better, and this one, and this one are even that much better. And they say, oh, you mean you put more than one on? Absolutely, especially on ribs and chicken. If people would, step outside of the box and learn that, especially on small meats, ribs, chicken, even hamburgers in your backyard, even steak, a combination of rubs with say grilling butter or the new barbecue mud, you can cause a flavor explosion on meat that does not hide the taste of the meat, enhances the taste of the meat. Because let's face it, chicken is that's just a carrier of flavor, and you've got to really do stuff to it to make it tasty. And I can just imagine all the things that you put on chicken thighs, and when you're cooking, and you'll probably, I'm sure you'll go over that in this video, correct?
Oh, yeah, and I even made that very comment on there to Mike, the guy that's on the screen with me. He said, well, and this chicken, I said, yeah, chicken tastes like chicken. I mean, there's nothing to it,
there's
really.
Nothing there. Yeah.
And, yeah, and, I hate to digress, but I don't know if you can tell, I'm kind of excited about the barbecue mud. But that one other thing that a guy did, or a gal, I don't remember which one, they took their hamburger meat and put it in a bowl and poured mud in it and just mixed it up, kind of like you would like a meatloaf, then made patties and grilled them like that. Another way to do it. Yep.
Well, you could put it in there, make the little 2-ounce balls, and then do those George Mode smash burgers too. And
my goodness.
And then throw some onions on top. I can't wait to try that. So where do people go to find, once again, your video of lessons, barbecue lessons online?
Okay. The simple and the easiest way that I'll always remember, because I won't remember all these websites that I'm entitled or in with, you can go to my page, Butcher BBQ, butcherbarbecue.com. I have a link at the very top. It says barbecue classes right on the header. you can click on that, and that's a direct link. You'll go straight to my page at Barbecue Champs Academy, and there is a little trailer there that kind of gives you an insight of what we do. There's you can go in and buy the all access pass for everything, or you can buy your individual meat categories that you're wanting. But you can just go to butcherbarbecue.com, and it's right there on my header.
And while you're there, folks, you can look at all the Butcher Barbecue products that David has. He's got the best supply page that I've seen of anybody online. David sells a vast array of supplies other than rubs and sauces for barbecue. Things you've always wanted, like brown butcher barbecue paper. I buy mine from David and sell it at the store. People come in there and they go, "Man, I've always wanted to try that butcher paper, David." You know, they say, "I've always wanted to try a Texas brisket."
Sure.
And, you know, they buy that stuff, and it's something that they have, and they try it, and, you know, they won't use, of course, they won't use it all at one time, but that's the kind of things that David introduces you to on his webpage, and that's why I like buying from David and reselling his products, because, folks, David is such a, and you can hear it in his voice, he's such a visionary when it comes to flavor and barbecue and the things that he's wanting to do and to help people along. Real quick, David, let's tell us about the competition that you've got coming up that you're getting ready for tonight that you'll be taking off to tomorrow. I tell you, I'm really envious because I know what the night feels like the night before you leave, and, man, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, it's been February was the last one we got to do. We ran down to Texas to do one, but this is in Wagner, Oklahoma. They've got like 60 teams in it. We'll be on their main street in downtown. This is the second year for it, so it'll be a great fun one. Yeah, I'm excited to get to see everybody. We're going to pull in midday, a little later than we normally do, but that's just got to do with what we got to do at work tomorrow. But yeah, I made boxes tonight, and I'm ready to roll right now. Yep.
Is Donnie Teal going to be there?
Oh yeah, yep. He's actually pulling his rig in right now this evening.
Boy, I tell you what, I'd like to cook against Donnie Teal. You, Donnie Teal, all that mid America bunch from Texas and Oklahoma and Iowa and Missouri. You saw it. I don't know if you saw it. Tim Shear of Shake and Bake Barbecue won that barbecue brawl that was the pay-per-view barbecue contest. I don't know if you got to watch it or not, but it was fairly.
No, I did not.
It was fairly interesting. You would have liked it. And that goes back to our on-demand television conversation that we just had. It was a very unique setting, and David, I think you're really going to have a very success with your online cooking lessons and cooking school, because people want to gravitate to people that are enthusiastic about it and will give you all the information and will give you even a little bit more information to make your food taste good. And folks, that's what David's going to do. He will. He's always been one of those guys that tells you everything. He holds nothing back because he knows that when it comes down, David, you still got to cook it, right? So
that's absolutely right. Yeah,
you still got to cook it.
If I teach everybody, if I teach people and they start beating me, I'm a believer in that. I just got to become a better cook.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
David, thank you so much. We'll be looking for the barbecue mud, hopefully around June the 25th. Everybody stay tuned to my Facebook page, of course, and as soon as we get it, we'll hit the live button and we'll cook something with it. David, thank you so much for your time. Good luck tomorrow in Oklahoma. Tell Donnie Teal thank you for listening to the show. He tunes in from time to time. I really appreciate it. And best of luck to you, David.
Steve, thanks a lot, and I appreciate you letting me come on here and get excited.
It's not hard to do. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank
you. David BOUSKA there, everybody, from Wellston, Chandler, Oklahoma, Wellston, Oklahoma area. David has come such a far way in his barbecue journey. He started with one rub, the private seasoning, and then he he's grown his private seasoning into just a great great company, and he's a class act, and we're so happy to be associated with him. All his products, of course, available at my place. All right, we're gonna go. Let's see. We're gonna make sure we've got Ed here. All right, we're gonna go to see Ed Riley. Let's see if we can't call up Ed Riley from B&B Barbecue. Hello, Ed.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing good. Can you see? Turn your video on. There you go.
There you go. Hang on just a second. Let me see if I got you. There you are. And look at that, everybody. Ed Riley, B&B Charcoal Briquettes. Let's see. Ed, you need just to move a little bit more towards your left, I think.
Left.
Right. I'm sorry. It's backwards. It's always backwards to the right. There he is. Look at that guy with the
All
B&B
right.
shirt on and the B&B products. Ed Riley from B&B Charcoal. Everybody move to the right a little bit, Ed. Let's see. Maybe I can help you out here a little bit.
A little bit of delay here on this thing.
Let's see.
You
Let's
know what
go.
I'm going to do? I'm going to own.
There we go. There you go. And look at that guy. You got me. That's great. Hang on one second.
Yep.
I can fix this real quick. Just takes a second. I tell you what, fellas. Folks, if you were ever thinking about doing a live broadcast, it's tough to beat this XSplit little program here that we've got. It makes you feel like you're sitting in the control room
All right.
of CBS News or something. There we go. That's just perfect right there. Ed Riley from B&B Charcoal. Ed, how is the B&B Charcoal business these days?
You can imagine we are slam-packed busy. Everybody is cooking at home, grilling at home. Sales are through the roof, and I can feel some of y'all's pain. I get calls every day. How can I get B&B? And I'm like, man, I wish I had 5 warehouses full of this stuff. But we are making it as fast as we can. But you know, there's no cutting corners on quality. So it's just one of those things that we're making it. We've added shifts onto our charcoal production line, and we're just happy to be part of so many people's family. Everybody's staying at home and cooking out, and that means they've invited us along for the journey. We can certainly appreciate that.
I know I've got a friend up in West Virginia, Steve Dotson. He's the cookout coach on YouTube. He is a huge B&B fan. And I think it was Will Hare I was watching last week. He was doing a charcoal a comparison. And B&B came out, however he did it, your product, B&B, came out on top as far as burn time and heat time. And, of course, that's what we're all looking for is, the most heat for the longest period of time. And tell us why B&B does that.
All right, well, I don't know if you can see this, but
we can't see it great.
One's got a K, one's got a B. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but you can see the size difference, right?
Mm-hmm. Big difference.
Some of the ones that are out there, I mean, not that size is everything, but there is a comparison. Some of y'all can be familiar with some of these things. You're cooking with these. Ours is just a bigger pillow. It's a bigger briquette. It also is made a lot differently. Ours is made from our char. When we're done with our lump, these are pieces of our lump. The smaller pieces, the fines, fall through the grading system, and that's what we make our briquettes out of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 100% hardwood. If the briquettes are a combination of oak and hickory, and it's made from our plant. So we control the process from top down. You get a denser product. Some of y'all from the north know the idea. If you keep wood out for too many years, the wood dries out. Ours, within a year of cutting it, it's in a bag. So we have a very quick process. We don't have acres and acres of timber waiting to be processed. When we process it, it gets processed pretty quick. I mean, we age it, but not too long. And that gives you a denser product. That denser product burns hotter. It burns longer. And because of the process, it burns cleaner too. This briquette gives you less ash than this briquette. This briquette, I won't say the word, but this one right here gives you about 40% ash. This gives you 2% ash. So it's a cleaner burn. And you guys know that ash buildup can affect a lot of things. It can affect airflow. It can affect, just the way the maintenance of your grill. You don't have to clean it out as often. We don't put any accelerants in ours. So it's a clean burn. And when you're done, people often say they can get 2 burns out of our briquettes and definitely 2 burns out of our lump and our new Texas Extra lump.
All right, Ed, what is the product lineup of B&B Charcoal?
Well, we have lots of products. I mean, I don't know if you can see this brochure, but B&B has over 60 SKUs of products. So if you have a need for cooking, we have the fuel for you, whether it's pellets, chunks, chips. We make wood, split wood. I know you guys know that, but we've got about 7 varieties of woods that you can cook with, live fire cooking. We've got mesquite, post oak, and hickory lump. 9 flavors of pellets, 7 flavors or 8 flavors of chips. Just a whole variety of things. I heard earlier your conversation that the flavor profile that you get in with your rubs changes that taste of the chicken. It changes the taste of all foods. If you have different rubs and marinades you put on your food to get flavors, you can do the same thing with different wood smokes. The key is to have true wood smoke flavor into it. If you have wood that's too old, it's not going to have the same flavor profile as wood that's properly seasoned. Our maple smells like maple. Our cherry smells like cherry. Apple smells like apple. Whether it's a chip or chunk, a hardwood briquette, even our pellets are made from our own process. When we process our chips and chunks, when we clean the apple or the maple out of that, that's what goes to produce our chips. Our pellet.
Wow. I'm looking at all the products that you've got stacked up behind you. We get when we first met a couple weeks ago, I was looking for a supplier for wood chunks. What are the flavors of wood chunks that B&B has?
Our most popular are going to be our hickory, cherry, and pecan. B&B is an older business. They've been in business since 1961, but they've been mainly based in Texas. So growing up in Texas, we're adopting new flavor profiles. Barbecue's regional. Everywhere you go, and that's the way it should be. Everywhere you go, it should have different, like wines or foods. If I go to Maine, I want a different barbecue than if I go to Seattle. It's different places, different barbecue. So we just reintroduced our peach, because as we move into the to the south, the northeast, there's a peach flavor profile that's in there. We've had orange in the past. That's a big one down in Miami, and the Hispanic community put a lot of orange into their flavor profile. So the ones we had, your question. Basically, we've got 7 different types. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Our most popular, those are our chips and our chunks. Our most popular are going to be probably the hickory, the cherry, and the pecan. But I mean, I like our championship blend because that's a blend of oak, pecan, and cherry. That puts a nice flavor profile in there. Just like with your rubs, you layer your flavor profile. You can layer your wood smoke profile as well.
That you're right. I've just gotten into the pellet business, and I was never, just about 6 months ago is when I started, and I can't believe the popularity of the pellets that are mixed. Competition mix. They'll have 4 or 5 different in woods, all mixed together, and that's what people like. And I've been using a few of them at my store when I cook, and Ed, they really add a unique. First of all, the smell is incredible, and then the taste that it adds to the meat. There's a distinct difference. I mean, the fuel matters when you're cooking food. It doesn't.
It does.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We focus on fuel. A lot of companies make grills and then fuel as a consumable. We don't make grills. We just make fuel, and we try to make the best fuel possible. You mentioned pellets. I'm glad you brought up pellets. If you take a look at our pellets, you can see they're long, most of them, I mean, I could open a bag up, but I invite your listeners to go online and get a few bags or take a look at a 20-pound bag that we've got. I'm going to try to play this as straight as possible, but our pellets are made from our wood process. And when we process, we start making with our splits, then that chunks down to our chunks, and then to our chips. When we get done with that process, we reclaim, let's say we're making mesquite, or some people like it's hickory. So we're making hickory chunks. When we get done, we take the scraps and we form that into our pellets. There's no other woods in our hickory but hickory. There's some companies out there that are, have mixed a lot of different industrial scrap wood into it. Alder is one of the major ingredients in one of the leading pellet manufacturers out there, and alder is the wood they use in furniture, and they use that in bed frames. And when that's not being used, I guess they scrap it, and that's what they make their pellets out of. Then they add flavor oils into it. We don't add flavor oils into it because we actually use the wood that's indicated on the bag. We do mix with the apple and the cherry and the maple. We mix those with our own hardwood because an apple alone won't be strong enough. So we have to put some BTUs in it with the oak and the hickory. So we put hardwood in there. But what that does, it gives you a harder pellet. It's stronger. It won't crumble up. We use less binders in it because there's natural resins inside inside our wood that we reclaim. So don't want to have to put a lot of cornstarch in there. It's moisture resistant. It's tougher, so you get a higher burn. You don't have flavor oils. You don't have bark and what's called slap wood in there. You have the heart of the wood in our pellet. So to your point, if you want true flavor, you need the best woods you can. Just like with your proteins. If you start with, a cheap meat cut, you're not gonna, you can't help yourself too much with that.
Exactly, yeah.
You start with the best you can. You get the freshest rubs, freshest marinades, and then the third profile of taste has got to be your fuel. It's the last ingredient you put on your food, but it's the first flavor you taste because you're smelling it before you put it in your mouth. So it's very important to have quality fuel that you use with whether you're doing grilling, smoking, indirect, direct, variety of different ways you cook. The smoke makes a difference.
Now Ed, until you and I figure out a way to get your product to my store in an economical shipping manner, because that's what we're working on. Where can people buy B&B in the Chattanooga area, and maybe enhance that to the Atlanta, North Georgia, Southeast Tennessee, going towards Nashville area?
Great question. Growing pains. That's what we've got right now. Like I said, we've been in business 1961. It's a family-owned business, so as we grow, getting distribution for our product is key. We're tied in with some great retail partners throughout the South. We were in Academy Sports. They carried, I'm guessing, close to 45, maybe 50 of our product lines. Ace is another one. Ace has got 5,200 Ace stores. Every one of them has access to about 50 of our products. However, your customers, people who listen to you, they have to go to ace.com, order it, and have it brought into the Ace store if the Ace isn't carrying it. Because Ace is a co-op, so everyone's individual.
Yeah.
They're owned by, maybe they own 1 or 4 or 10, but that Ace store has to decide what to bring in. Your listeners can go to that Ace store and say, I want you to bring in the B&B pellets, the B&B splits. And, if you've got a good Ace store and they'll listen to the customers, they'll bring it in. You and I are going to pop to meet. I'm in Atlanta. You're in Chattanooga. We'll meet up. We'll get some stuff on your shelves. But for the majority of people, it's going to be Academy or Ace right now.
But we're working on getting it, and it's not a product problem. It's a logistics problem, and in this time, I have found that is the number one problem, Ed, when you're trying to buy things, is with this situation that this country's in right now, is just getting the stuff to you. Because everybody is so timid right now, and they're afraid to grow their business. They're just trying to hang on. But we're working on that, and we'll when we come out of this thing, I assure you, folks, that there'll be B&B products at the Owl's Nest barbecue store. And I can't wait.
Yeah, you and I talked about this earlier. If you have a neighborhood and you drive into the neighborhood and you have 10 of your neighbors cooking out, that's a much better place to live than everybody either inside playing games or watching TV. So I think the whole nature of barbecue is it brings people together. You don't cook for yourself, you cook for family and friends. And that's why I love barbecue. And I think that's why you're in the business too. And this, like I said, barbecue can turn this around. People cooking outside, being generous. That's what we need more of right now.
Absolutely. Ed Riley from B&B Barbecue, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll talk this week and try to get some of the product up to Ooltewah. You're just there in the North Atlanta area, so you're just a hop, skip, and a jump. We may have you up on a Saturday, bring some product up, and you may be our first celebrity representative. How about that? You'll like Ooltewah. You might want to move here. Now, you may want to move here when this is all over. Ooltewah is a pretty good place. Ed, thank you so much. Okay? We'll be in touch, and we'll get you on again.
Right.
Thanks so much.
Okay, perfect.
Ed Riley, everybody, from B&B Charcoal. What a nice fellow, and nice of him to take the time out from a busy schedule and to be on our show here. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks, David BOUSKA. Thanks, Ed Riley. David BOUSKA with just a plethora of information. He always brings such a positive attitude. He gets excited about what he's doing, and that's what's great about doing business with David. And I want to tell you something. That's what's great about doing business with all the vendors that I use. Suckle Busters, David BOUSKA, Myron Mixon, Killer Hogs, Malcolm Reed, Heath Riles, Sassy's down in Florida, Swamp Boys down in Florida, Sweet Smoke Q down in Florida. I don't want to leave anybody out. Yes Dear Barbecue. Let's see, Code 3 Barbecue up in Cincinnati. These are just some of the products that we have in our store right now. Blues Hog. We just added Blues Hog. We got the raspberry. We got the honey mustard. Of course, we've got the original and the vinegar of Blues Hog. We have all those products at our store here in Ooltewah. We'd love for you to come by and check it out. We've always got a lot of good information. We've got pellets for the pellet smokers. And, of course, we just added the Green Mountain Grill to our selling repertoire. So come by and see it. I'll have it out tomorrow. We've been cooking on it just about every other day. It's a fantastic cooker, and you can come out and see it in action at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply Store right next to my Midnight Oil service station. Let's see. When you need tires for your car, don't forget Michelin is the only brand to trust. We run Michelin on all my family cars, and you'll like running Michelin on your family cars as well. Of course, don't forget about Butcher Barbecue and all the Butcher Barbecue products. The famous Butcher Barbecue Mud coming up as we speak. And I do not want to forget my buddy Wes Phillips and the Backyard Smokers Barbecue Facebook page. They are our broadcast partners. Wes does a great job with this page. It's a enormous page on Facebook. They have information on grilling, smoking, and all things live fire and backyard. Share information and get information on Backyard Smokers Barbecue Facebook page. They are the broadcast partner of the Owl's Nest Barbecue. Until next Thursday, everybody, thanks for watching and thanks for listening. We're going to head out, and we'll see you next Thursday. And until then, good night, everyone, and good luck.